Blessings in Jesus' name. In Wexford Town, where I live, I suppose I'm here for I'd be in Wexford since I was 18, and I'm 41 now. Wexford County. I spent most of my time in Enniscorthy and then Wexford Town. I spent some time in Gorey and, the surrounding areas like Tomanearly, Clonroach, and different places around near Gorey. And I would have shared houses, lived on my own. I was in a relationship for a while and we shared a lot of houses together. And now I'm just licensing a room in a house that I've been in for a while. I've been here for a while, but I know sort of the lay of the land in Wexford to some extent. But what's interesting about it is what I've found about Irish culture, and I don't know if it's limited to Ireland, but the freedom of expression which we have in Ireland is what differentiates really a democracy from a communist society or a tyrannical dictatorship like Korea. The difference between Ireland and Korea is you can say your opinion in public. Now, when you think about busking in Ireland, busking is where a street performer shares his or her craft. And they can access the public arena reasonably, don't set up in front of the door of a shop or hide the window of the patisserie that's showing its cupcakes. You know what I mean? Like, be reasonable. And so we reasonably engage the society in this manner. But when you think about it, this is the only place that children get to see live music. Hands down, the only place in Ireland that a child gets to see live music for free, no expectation of payment, is busking. Just let that sink in for a minute. The only place a musician can give you what they do for free is on the street. The only place that somebody can gift you with music is on the street in Ireland. And they're trying to place sanctions on it, limitations. And they're saying in certain cities, like in Dublin, they're saying you require a license to engage what are already your rights. This is treason. This is felonious behaviour. It's actually seditious because it flies in the face of what differentiates Ireland from Korea. What differentiates a democracy from a tyrannical overlordship that commands the people to behave and speak in a certain specific manner? And they're saying that we need a license now to engage our own freedoms. Guys, you can't license something from yourself which belongs to you. That's fraud. It's fraud. The thing belongs to you. It's yours. Your right to freedom of expression cannot be bought from you, by you. And nobody else can profiteer or set up a racket. Because it's exactly the same as a protection racket. I won't fine you, I won't harm you in any way, monetarily or physically, if you give me money for protecting what's already yours. What's different about the mafia? There's nothing different between the mafia and what Dublin City are doing to the buskers. And Waterford, actually, have started that licence treason as well, that licence fraud. Now, are they saying that my rights are less in Dublin than they are in Cork? Is Ireland divided? Are there municipal separations? And people say that's a bylaw. A bylaw can't usurp your rights or alter them in any way. What's different? A member of the mafia goes into a shop and says, I will protect your shop from the other mafia families, the other crime gangs. Wrecking it. If you give me money, but if you don't give me money, I will wreck it. So I'll wreck your shop unless you give me money to protect it. That's how a protection racket works. So you pay them and they protect your shop from the other gangs and they don't harm it either. But if you don't pay them, they wreck it. So there's an apprehension, there's a trepidation that if you don't give somebody money who you don't have to give money to, they will take from you what's yours or damage what's yours. And that's exactly what the Dublin City Council and the Waterford County Council are doing now. They're saying that unless you give me money, you can't access what's already yours. Do you know that when you license something, there is a service implied? Like if I'm licensing a room here, I have a licensee agreement. It's a perfectly legal agreement. It's perfectly legal, I've checked. You're allowed to license a room in a house in Ireland. You say, oh, that's subletting, trouble. No, look into it. It's a totally legitimate agreement. It's not the most advantageous agreement, depending, it suits me, but it's not the most advantageous agreement if you want specific rights and longer periods of notice and things of that nature, you know. But in a way, it protects a landlord who's absent from having to deal with, you know, contractual complications. Because up front, you know, I can understand it from their point of view, why they would license the rooms and not rent them. Because a tenancy is much more complicated. So I license the room, but the expectation that I have is that the room is kept in good order. That the mod cons are working in working order. That I've access to toiletries but the only place that I have a lease on is the room I sleep in. Not a lease, sorry, a license. That's the point I want to make. It's not a lease, it's a license. So I'm licensing something, I'm getting something for my license. What am I getting from Dublin City Council if I buy a busking license that I don't already have? What service are they offering me? By the way, you can't force a service on somebody. You can't force somebody to pay you money for a service. That's mafia. That's basically a protection racket. It's a mafiosa, bully, fraud. It's a big fraud. And Dublin City Council are auditioning people. This is what I heard. They're auditioning people for the license. Like, give us a listen to your song and we might give you a license. Like, who do they think they are? That they're now the standard of freedom of expression, that they're some kind of filter that makes sure that certain people don't get a chance to engage their rights and freedoms, even if they would be willing to pay them their fraudulent request. This is absolutely out of control. It's worse than Korea because it pretends to be democratic. Korea doesn't pretend to be democratic. At least you know what you're getting into over there. Dublin City are absolutely out of control. They're basically turning into a mafia, a bureaucratic mafia, a tea-drinking committee trying to solve problems that don't exist. Dublin City has had buskers for decades, for 100 years in the absence of any necessity for a licence, and they've been able to organise the space among themselves. What do these county council workers think they're going to bring to the table? They haven't brought anything to the table but sanction, limitation and charge and fee and cost. When you go out as a busker, that's a non-taxable gift that has been given to you. And nobody was under any pressure or obligation or onus to give it to you, but you're trying to place an onus on the person who's receiving a gift to give money to the state. for accessing their own rights and freedoms? Let me ask you a question. Do you need a license to sit on the street? No. Do you need a license to play a song? No. Not even if if I'm a professional musician playing in a hotel, I don't need a license. Even if I'm earning money. Right. So, do I need a license to receive a gift? No. Do I need a license to give a gift? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's age old. It's hundreds and thousands of years old, where musicians, it's known that musicians struggle quite a lot because art is a difficult trade. It's a difficult industry to break into. But still, the subculture of art is so beneficial to the culture and to what people can appreciate. Like, as I said, the only place that a child can hear live music in Ireland for free is a busker. It's the only place on a consistent basis. They might hear it at a party or something, but that's not free. You have to buy a gift. It's a rare occasion. It costs you money to go to a birthday party. The only place that they can't be asked for money to hear music is on the streets. Just think about it. The only place that a little child in their formative years, being influenced by the world around them, can hear music for free, live music, is on the streets. And they want to start putting sanctions on that. And picking and choosing who sings. That's control over people's speech and platforms of communication. That is unacceptable and flies in the face of democracy and freedom of expression. It is a protection racket. It is not legal, it is completely fraudulent, and if you want to stand on your constitution and have your rights observed by this government, you absolutely mustn't obey or pay. You mustn't. You are absolutely within your rights to go up to Dublin and play a song on the street, and nobody can move you on unless you're blocking the access or the flow of the pedestrians, access to shops or flow of pedestrians. These are the only reasonable considerations that can be taken into account. You are absolutely within your rights in this land, in this country, by this constitution, to, in any city or town, play a song to the people around you. Absolutely. Without any expectation of a licence or having forked out money for the utilisation of an amplifier. It's ridiculous. €60 for the licence to busk, 90 if you have an amp. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Mindless. Mindless. But people have the right to the freedom of expression in Ireland. So what I'm saying is, you can't license. I can license a room because I gained something that wasn't mine. But I can't license something to myself that's already mine. I have freedom of expression, I have freedom of access, freedom of movement, freedom of association under the Constitution of Ireland. Who can tell me I can't be there, sit there, stand there? Who can tell me I can't play a guitar there, sing a song there? Can I not sing in the rain anymore in Ireland? I'm singing in the rain. Have you got a license to do that? It's ridiculous. It flies in the face of democracy and freedom of expression, and we must stand against it for our children. Because this is not Korea. And you won't be telling us what we can and can't listen to, and you won't be telling us what we can and can't say either. Unless what somebody is saying is obscene, there's absolutely no measure to prevent them from saying it in Ireland. So no, I for one man will not be told by any town or any member of An Garda Síochána that I cannot play a song on the street. I will not be told that and obey it. I will not obey that, because I will obey my constitution first. because that is what I am lawfully bound to obey. I am lawfully obligated to obey my constitution, and so is the Guard. Not the county council, the constitution. So I absolutely will not obey the county council because they are not the authority. And if the policeman becomes rogue and starts obeying the county council, I must continue to obey the law and the instituted power of authority, which is the Constitution of Ireland. I won't join hands with mafia, and you mustn't either. Blessings in Jesus' name.